Hi, this is Alyssa Borelli, Senior Editor for Commercial Integrator. Today I'm delighted to have Joe Burke from Draper joining in on a discussion about the newly launched Foundation Videowall mounting system. Welcome, Joe. So great to have you here today.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to it.
Today's conversation is part of Commercial Integrator's DV-LED Deep Dive Report, which will appear in the May-June edition of Commercial Integrator Plus Security Sales and Integration. This will also be spotlighted online. Let's jump right into it. Can you start by giving us an overview of the newly launched Foundation brand? How did it come about and what inspired its creation? What makes it stand out compared to the original video wall mounting system?
Yeah, I can. So when we decided to get into the direct view LED mounting solutions, we knew we needed a product that we could use to build from and that we could use in different environments and adapt it to different types of projects. And the original product that we brought out was called the Foundation Mount. As we've developed and continue to grow and change and really sort of develop into this market, we found that we really needed a name that worked very well for all the other types of products that we're bringing out. And we really like the name Foundation because it really, as the name suggests, allows a platform for us to build on. So we changed the name of the original product from Foundation Mount to Foundation Origin. And now we have the new brand, Draper Foundation, which is anything mount specific, mount detailed. So from direct view LED, LCD mounts, any kind of custom structures, all of that falls under the new Foundation brand.
And the speed and simplicity seem to be a big focus for this new brand. So how does it sort of simplify and speed up installations without compromising precision or performance?
So one of the things that we noticed was there's a requirement within the market to get product quickly for specific types of applications, whereas other projects that are more custom do allow for a little bit more time. One of the products that we very focused on bringing out was a product that was off the shelf, ready to go. So that when people get to site and they're like, oh dear, we need a mount. We need something that has all the adjustment and flexibility required to do a direct view LED system. So one of the products that we've recently launched is called Foundation One. It's a one-to-one type system. It works with LED cabinets of specific sizes, any manufacturer that fits inside those sizes, and allows for the flexibility on site that customers need. And of course, we can then, as I said, turn that around really on a next day service if the order comes in time.
So the system is designed to handle real-world video walls. Can you elaborate on how the Z-axis adjustment works and why it's so important for installers?
Yeah, that was one of the main areas for us that we really needed to incorporate. Many of your listeners will know when it comes to installing anything on a wall, even though the builders and the GCs and everybody tells you that it's going to be a perfectly flat wall, it never always is. Life gets in the way. Reality kicks in. And as things develop and change, you do get some warping in some of these walls. Or you're installing into an environment that is maybe quite a few years old and wasn't originally designed for this level of requirement. And when we look at the specific precision needed for direct view LED, when we think about some of these really fine pixel pitches to allow for high resolution, your margin of error is very small. And so when you come to install a mount like that on the wall, if the mount that comes with it doesn't have enough of that, I'm going to say Z for a second. I'm English, so Z is what I would say. But the Z adjustment that's needed, then of course you're going to be chasing your tail the whole time. And allowing enough adjustment both in and out depending on where you are on the wall is critical. And so yeah, we made sure that not only does the Foundation One product have enough Z adjustment, but really any of the products that we bring out, we want to make sure we have good full XYZ adjustment. And it's a big priority for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even in our survey, too, one of the biggest challenges, I think, was just the wall itself.
It is. I mean, for us to be able to, we need to be able to work with anybody. I mean, from our standpoint, we're not tailored to one specific manufacturer. When it comes to Foundation One specifically, what we looked at was all the different sizes of LED cabinets, panels, whatever terminology you want to use. And we saw that the vast majority were about 600 millimeters wide to about 610. Now we know there are bigger and smaller, but those tended to dominate very heavily. And so for us, we focused on the 80% at that point. So the Foundation One caters to that kind of window. Again, doesn't really matter which manufacturer. We love to work with everybody. But at the same time, if anybody comes to us and says, well, actually, my panel isn't that size, not to worry. We have other systems and other tools that we can work with, custom mounts, all different types of systems that we probably have available to work with you on those projects. But as I said, when you take those sort of 600 wide, 610, and you do an equal array, you're always going to be left with a good 16:9 size display. And that a lot of the time dominates the type of installs that go on in the industry.
So Draper also offers a magnetic trim kit. And so how does that enhance the overall look and feel of the installation? What kind of feedback have you received about it so far?
Very positive. When we look at trim's a quite important thing for us as well here at Draper, because our goal is to really, from our standpoint, the part that we play, almost to be invisible. You shouldn't really notice what we've done. When we look at direct view LED panels, because you're working with a building block type product that allows for creative freedom to build whatever it is your imagination can come up with. The finish on those products isn't always how customers want them to be. And so when you get to the edge, you end up with just raw aluminium or aluminum edging. And so what we want to be able to do is take that wonderful looking display and give it the finish that it deserves, that the end customer's expectations can be met. And so for us to put a nice trim around the edge really works well. Now, with Foundation One, because we needed to be more universal, what we decided to do was to do a two-piece adjustable trim. So it's a depth adjustment. So depending on what size panel you're using, and again, any imperfections in the wall, it allows for that. When you use our configuration tool, which we'll talk about in a minute, you don't need to cut down any of the trim on site. Everything will lay out the way it's supposed to, attaching straight with magnets that are on the actual brackets themselves. There is a couple of clips that go in between just to hold everything in place, and just, again, wants to look nice and simple. When we do other products, of course, trim again always plays a big part. But what we tend to then focus on is more custom trim specific to that application, that mount, that display for that environment. Because as I said, if you notice our stuff, we haven't done a good job, and we always do a good job. So that's why people don't notice. And if you're going to spend that kind of money, you want a display that looks the part.
You want that nice polished look.
Definitely.
What are some of the ideal use cases for the Foundation brand?
Again, that's a great question. When we look at Foundation as a whole, our job is to cater to any market and any environment that a customer wants to work in, whether inside or outside. We've done anything from your normal traditional flat wall mounts, your typical 5x5, 6x6s that you see in a lot of places like receptions and meeting rooms and boardrooms and things like that, all the way through to the great and elaborate systems. We've been very fortunate to work in the themed entertainment market. We've been able to work in the medical sector. We've been able to work, education, you name it. We've had that privilege. Again, I think themed entertainment does lend itself to being a bigger challenge. They tend to like to go a little bigger. The biggest so far for us, we had one very good large project, and the largest of the many displays on that particular project was 100 feet wide and about 55 feet tall, and it was curved and floor supported. So it presented a really exciting challenge for us. But that's really where Draper comes into its own, and that's something that makes us different to majority of the other manufacturers. We will go from anything from a nice, simple, everyday type project to, hey, let's be tested and tried. Let's see where we can go. Let's try something different.
You mentioned that the Foundation One is all about making LED walls faster, simpler, and more predictable. Is there anything else you'd like to add about its impact?
Yeah. For us, one of the things that we're trying to do is to become more accessible than ever. And we're trying to make sure that we can get both the pre-sales information as fast as possible, and also the delivered product in a good, timely manner. Again, depending on the complexity, we see lead times do vary depending on how far you want to go. When you do a 100-foot wide display, it doesn't take 5 minutes to design. It takes a bit more time than that. But one of the things that we were very cautious of is being able to quote projects this quick, and be able to provide the information to the customers, the integrators, whoever needs it. And so one of the tools that we've created on our website is called Foundation Studio. And it's a fantastic tool that is gaining a lot of attention right now, and it's being used on a regular basis, daily basis. And basically, you can go into this system. It's on our website. You just go in, log into it. If you're an integrator already, you should have an account. Make sure you're logged in. If you don't or you're not, by all means, reach out to Draper. We'll be able to help you out with that. And then you put in the details of your project. So, the name of the project itself, which state it's going to be in, because some states require seismic reviews and things like that. What type of application? Are we going to floor mount it? Are we going to wall mount it? Do we want it curved? What type of panel you're going to use? Who are you going to use? Which manufacturer are you planning to use? Whether you want to do it indoors or outdoors. And then once you sort of fill out all that information, as you're putting it into the website, it is building a visual so that you're on the right track to where you want to be. Once you've gained all that, you add that particular wall to your quote, because you can do more than one wall on a project if you so wish. Once you've done and you filled out all the information, hit the go button. About 5 seconds later, it will appear in your download folder. And you have everything you need ready to go in order to move forward with that proposal. And as I said, the reaction we've been receiving from the market is humbling. It's incredibly exciting. There's a lot of projects that are going through. People are being very creative, which is great to see. And we're glad we can meet that demand. And then, of course, projects then come through. And once they do, we hand them over to our project managers who manage the project all the way through, and a fantastic engineering team who come up with crazy fun ideas to meet the needs of the project, all the way through to a full install.
So it's definitely a tool integrators should check out for their next DV LED install project.
Definitely. It will make life much easier and much quicker rather than waiting for others to necessarily come back. We'll be able to give that information to them within minutes.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining me today. And thanks again for sharing all about the Foundation system.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for having me. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. If there's any questions, of course, or anybody wants any help walking through these type of tools or wants to learn more, by all means, reach out to us at the Draper team. We'll be more than happy to help.
Please check back on commercialintegrator.com and, of course, Imprint for all things DV LED related.